So yeah, this is part two, guys. Welcome back to the checkout process. So we're just gonna continue the conversation. So pops, like, so obviously, like, so we go from eBay, right? When do you feel like we found Amazon? Um, because in my head, we was on
Mhm.
eBay for a good while, right? Before we probably about a year and a half, 18 months, no?
Right. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, first of all, let me say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, no. No. So I was looking through sort of some of the records. So we started around about 2017. We went through, the last episode, around about December 2017. So it's probably around about May, 2018. So it's around
Right.
about 6 months. So
Okay.
about
So yeah.
6 months
Yeah. Yeah.
into it. We started off with about two products. We
Mhm.
started off with Libido Max,
Mhm.
Grizzly Beard Oils,
Mhm.
and then we added two more products within 6 months. So we
Mhm.
then added Extreme Passion,
Yep.
and Deep Impact.
That's
So
it.
we've now got four products
Yep. Yep.
now that we started with after 6 months. And what we do, we start off with an Amazon account for yourself,
Mhm.
and then we get the main Grab Me One Limited account
Yeah.
after about 6 months, and then so we sell probably around about three products, about three Libido Maxes in I think May 2018.
Wow.
So that's how quickly we
Wow.
we, we start off.
And so we start with the free, and then I remember the libido max just being the clear winner from the jump, though, like our libido product, right? Like we had other
Yeah,
products on, but it was one clear winner that kind of stood out. And I kind of want the audience to understand, when you're launching products, you don't know what's really going to take off. And it's so important. Like, if you're starting your journey now, I want you to just get into this mindset of, you don't know what's going to take off until you test. Like, business is
yeah,
one big test. Anyone that tells you that they know what's going to work or they know what's going to happen is a liar, right? Because no one knows. All you can do is test, right? And me and you, Pots, we go back and forth on this a lot, right? This is
yeah,
our current situation about how much do we test versus how much do we scale. Do you get what I'm saying? And just
yeah,
double
yeah,
down. Because when you start to launch products, guys, you are gonna find your winners, right? You are gonna find your winners that are gonna start to pay your mortgage or start to send you on holidays. It's gonna start to bubble up. And we found our winners early on because we had the data. But you also need to also be testing as well, so that you're constantly feeding a funnel. Because God forbid, if your winner one day decides to die down, you're gonna be without a business. You're gonna be without any income. So it's almost like football, right? Like, yeah, you need to grow your players and train your players, but you also need to have scouts in the market looking for your next talent. Because once this crop of talent gets old or decides to phase out, you need to have that new talent coming in. How do you feel about that, Pops? Do you get what I'm saying? Because
yeah. No, no, absolutely. I mean, you do, you do. You need a constant conveyor belt of products, potential products. So you need to be constantly researching products. I suppose, I suppose in a film world, you need to have products constantly waiting in the wings,
yes.
constantly waiting to come off.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
to audition, and
Yeah.
like you go through your due diligence and decide what products you want or you potentially want to launch, and then you kind of like you launch them, and like you said, you trial them, see if they work, and you have to be completely ruthless with them, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
you get them, if they're working fine. If they don't, you move on to the next,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all you're doing obviously is just tying up capital, and I suppose blocking the potential for an actual winner
An
to come
actual
through.
winner, yeah. And I mean,
So
we're not
so
perfect, Pops, and we know we've in the beginning we fell in love. We got romantic with products in the beginning, and I just want this to be transparent for you guys that are watching. Don't fall in love with products, right? Because like my pop said, you have to be ruthless. It's about being ruthless and seeing, okay, cool, what is selling and what's not. If it's not, you have to get rid of it. You don't want any dead weight on your boat, because all that's gonna happen is, like Pop said, it's gonna stop the new talent from coming through and occupy that space. And in the beginning, we kind of was like, we found the winner and we just doubled down on the winner, which you should do because you've got
Yeah,
you have to double
yeah,
down on
yeah.
your winner and scale your winner, but you also need to keep that eye on new
The
stuff,
next
the
best.
next, and I'm trying to think of there's I was watching something the other day. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I can't remember what I was watching. But there was exact term where the guy was. It wasn't nothing to do with business. It was something to do like a talent show or something, and it was just a case of you just see it everywhere in life. It's like, yeah, you have to have one eye on the now, but one eye on tomorrow, and that's really challenging. That is challenging. That's probably the
Yeah.
challenge is just hard for me at times. Um, so yeah, so we did that. So we jump onto Amazon. We do Amazon.
Mhm.
We start to see some success with Amazon, and then um, that takes us to around 2019, 2018, when you
Well,
decide.
yeah, we're 2018, we're 6 months in.
Yeah,
Obviously, we get the first Amazon accounts. And if I sort of just looking at, so we start from around about, like I said, May 2018, we get a couple of Amazon accounts. Then we get the main Grab Me One account. And for around about 6 months, I'm looking at it now, we go from selling a few products to around about, what are we looking at now? For about November 2018, December 2000. So we get to December 2018, and we've sold 64 products. So 62 Libido Max we've sold, and 2 Grizzly beds just on Amazon alone. That's not including the eBay stuff. So
right.
in total, we've now done 156 products. In a year, we're now doing 156 products per month.
Per month. Wow. Yeah. That's
Per
good.
month.
And for those of
So
you that
we
don't know,
went
Grizzly Beard was a beard oil. It was a beard oil that
beard
you
oil.
rub onto your beard oil, like onto your beard to grow it. So those were good numbers, and I remember us celebrating at that time, saying, "Wow, like 156 units per
Listen,
month,
£3 grand revenue, so
3 grand revenue per month. Look at that, guys. Like,
month. It's not to be sniffed at. That
no,
£3 grand revenue per month, in the space of about 12 months,
yeah, yeah,
with 4 products.
yeah.
Um,
And I don't know our exact profit margins, but I will say supplements has good margins because you're buying them for in and around £1, £2, £3, and you got the ability to sell them for 25, £30 sometimes. However, I preface that with, if you're a beginner, after everything that we've learnt today, if you're getting into Amazon for the first time today, you want to become an Alibaba reseller, I wouldn't advise you to get into supplements to begin with. I mean, that that's just based on experience. I don't know how you feel about that, Pops. But for me, I feel like there's easier wins. Like in home and kitchen, you're gonna probably face less red tape, less
yeah,
compliance
yes,
issues, and you don't want to get scared off too early, right? So you want to find something that's simple to sell, because let's be real. In the first year, your learning is just about sourcing products, ordering it, and listing it. Sourcing products,
yeah,
ordering it, and listing it. That's your probation in your first year. Forget. I get sometimes people asking, yeah, but how do I ship from China directly to Amazon and make that? I'm like, no. You don't need to be. That's later on. We learned that in our
yeah,
third year of trading. Initially, we source the product, you order it, and you list it, and you get good at that, and you master that, and then you layer on top of that with, okay, how do I make my process more efficient? How do I go from supplier directly to thing? How do I price it better? How do I, like, my pops has got a genius pricing system where we make one price delicious and the rest kind of, so we kind of gear the customer towards the price that we want them to buy. So these are the optimization layers that you add later, but initially, guys, it's so important that you get your
yeah.
foundation right of product sourcing, listing it, product sourcing, ordering it, and listing it.
If I can just
Yeah,
recap,
yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah,
just something you just said there, because
yeah,
I think it's important to make the audience aware, is that we started off, we found ourselves in supplements,
yeah,
and it's a bit like, if for any of the audience who had football teams, I mean, sometimes the football team chooses you, and in this case, the product chose us because of the way we came about it. Like I said, you came to me and said we've got this opportunity, but once we got into the opportunity, we found out, there's lots of, like you said, red tape, and if anybody is starting out, like you said, son, it wouldn't be the ideal place to start, and we can go into it in more depth in specific reasons why. This is because there's certain gated products within supplements. So there's certain supplements that you can and can't do, and it's a potential minefield for someone new. So absolutely, it wouldn't be the ideal starting place. It's something that you can circle back and come back to afterwards after you've got a bit of experience. But just to kick off, I mean, there's lots of like quick wins, easier products you can sell, no issues, and you can, once you've built the confidence, then you can come back and do supplements.
Absolutely. And to add to that, go on. I was gonna say,
supplements is more profitable. But
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Don't ignore it. At some point, you're gonna want to get into supplements. Believe me, because the profit margins are insane. So we're not saying to you guys don't get into it. We're just saying it's probably not the first product that we would advise to get into. Build up some confidence, build up some experience, and then you'll feel much more comfortable doing the supplements. Only because there's just a few more steps that you have to take when you sell supplements, and we're trying to make your lives easier and give you shortcuts and hacks. Do you get what I'm saying? So just wanted to just let you know with that.
And we can do specific. I suppose episodes really just on like gated products. When you got specific issues, so we can do specific subject matter. If people put in the comments, anything that they've got, they find they've got issues for, or they would want us to do specific episodes on, then we can do specific episodes on. But there's lots of, like I said, lots of minefields and issues that you need to be aware of before you get into it.
100%. That's a good idea. So guys, I'll go to the comments. Like when you're watching these videos, go to the comment section, and if you got any questions, put them in the comment, and then we'll turn them into videos later and we'll answer them, right? So we'll break them down in terms of whatever issues you're going through, whether it be sourcing, whether it be listing, whether it be optimizing, whether it be ads, whatever it is, drop it down, and then we'll turn them into videos and just give you share with you our experience. Like, we don't claim to know the answers because we're learning every single day, so we can only share with you what we've learned over 8 years. If it's out of our jurisdiction and it's stuff that we don't know, we will say we won't pretend to know it all. But if it is something that we know and we can help you with, we're happy to do that. So this takes us up until probably, where we at now, Pops, in 2018. So we've been on there six months. We've sold up, we're averaging around 170 something units per month. And bearing in mind, guys, this is private labeling. This isn't OA, which is a different model, which is a retail arbitrage, whereby you go to your Matalands, your TK Maxes, and you buy them cheap and you resell them. No, this is private labeling, where we go to manufacturers abroad. We put our label on specific products. So we get a product like this, we'll put our own brand onto this product, and then we sell this as our product, which means creating your own listing, right? So we don't jump onto other people's listings. We don't sell Nike, we don't sell Adidas, we don't sell branded products. We launch our own brand, which then allows us to have more control over pricing, over control over branding, over just more control overall. And we'll talk about this in the next video.
And less competition as well.
And less competition. And less competition. Exactly. Yeah. So we get to 150 units, and then we get around the time where you start deciding whether we're making enough to leave your current full-time position. Talk us through that, Pops. Share with as much as you want to share in that department, and
I think it was it's probably like I said, so that's the end of 2018. So then we get to the point where I'm looking at it now thinking, this is probably going a lot better than everybody thought it might be. Well, I definitely thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you get faced with some real sort of questions. And you start thinking to yourself, well, okay, well, I mean, it now becomes more. It starts living in your head rent free. If that the business is now. So you've got your day job, but you're doing this on the side, and you're thinking the what if scenario. Well, if this continues on the trajectory it's doing, what if this did X? am I still going to be working? Do I want to start thinking about transitioning from full-time employment to maybe doing this? And it's a real dilemma. It's a conversation I probably had with my wife. I started thinking, well, saying to her, well, look, it's doing this. The potential is for it to do X. How do you feel about, because in my head now, this is a real passion. Now, remember, you're doing something for yourself,
Yeah.
and you live, sleep, breathe
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
this business, and it's really, like I said, it's really a conversation only you can have, obviously, with yourself and with your partner or
Was this
whatever.
getting
But
in the way of your current day-to-day job, the amount of headspace you was giving it? And was it affecting
I
your
would say
work?
that absolutely, son. I mean, it's a good question. That's a very good question, and it does.
Right.
Like I said, it starts living in your head rent free. Like you literally you're thinking about it most of the time when you should be doing your day job.
Right.
And it's like, what is the exit strategy from your day job now? And when is the right time? And from where we are now, December 2018, I left my job 6 months after that. So you can
Right.
see within a year and a half, which now looking back now, it's a case of wow, within a year and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, within 6 months of that moment, I'd left June 2019, which is we're coming up to COVID, aren't we? Well, I mean, we got COVID the following year, but this is like 6 months before COVID.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And I remember you telling me, do you know what? Well, because you run the numbers, right? And you was running the numbers, and I don't know whether it was a case of you, but I remember us sitting outside Harvester, and it was a spring afternoon, and you was like, I think we're making a good enough amount for me to potentially leave my job now. Do you get what I'm saying? And I just remember
Yeah.
thinking, wow, like, cause that
Yeah.
that in the beginning that wasn't even the goal. Like our goal was like, can we sell 10 units this month? Like we don't know how much, but it was getting to the point where we was having these conversations, like these mature business grown moves, and it was like I remember thinking for me, this is a real thing. Like this is a real business now because
Yeah.
it's setting us up to make choices and decisions like this. Like it's giving us these options. So that was a milestone for me. I think a couple milestones was the first time we got the first sale on eBay. I remember vividly. I remember us um in and around the Amazon space, launching on Amazon, going to Ginsburg, like going to the
Yeah.
seminar, staying over in Birmingham, I think it was, for a 3-day seminar, guys, and having this conversation with you about leaving your job to do this full time.
Yeah.
Those are milestones. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how long did it take
Absolutely.
you?
I mean,
Go on, Pat. Go on.
yeah. Go on,
I
son.
was
Go
just
on.
gonna say, so the moment you thought, like you ran the numbers and you thought, okay, cool, this could be a real thing. Do you remember how long it actually took you to pull the trigger and say, okay, cool, you're gonna hand in your notice? Do you remember how long it took you?
Well, that's like I said, that was the end of 2018. 2018, I left my job June 2019,
That was
the
when I got married.
21st.
I remember, yeah, it was a couple weeks before we got married. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. June
yeah,
2019. I handed my notice in probably a month, obviously a month before that.
yeah.
But I would say all of the 5 6 months leading up to me actually deciding was a dilemma. Because it's a big decision, and because you're faced with, all right, you can see in front of you, we've got the numbers now. We're doing quite a bit on Amazon now, quite a bit of sales, but it's stepping it in from a secured salary to the unknown. And as much as I can't remember, and this is where probably I don't know if you can remember, but I'm not quite sure if we've spoken about like, supplements is very sort of, there's lots of red tape, and Amazon have the ability sometimes to, like, for whatever reason, they're very, what's the right word? They can sort of close your account for the smallest of details. They're not
Yeah,
sure they can slow.
yeah.
So no, there's a little bit of insecurity there, which is creeping in, yeah. But you can't get away from the fact that, you're doing a vast amount of sales, and, if you want to turn this into your future, then you have to be committed to it. And I think that's what, over those 5 6 months leading up to me handing my notice in, I decided to I suppose pull the trigger,
Mm.
you know, and just go for it, which I did. So yeah, and never really looked back, and it's always felt like the right decision.
Mm.
It's always felt like the right decision, and and here we are today, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It, I, I think it's always felt like the right decision. Like, and we're not hasty people. Like, we don't just kind of jump the gun. Things are usually, I won't say all the time, but they usually thought through quite well. So then that takes us to end of January 2019, end of so June 2019, and then
mm,
COVID comes about 8 months later. And I just remember this period being a boom period because I remember 2019 we're thinking to like you're projecting at this point saying
yeah,
maybe end of the year. I think December we're on track to do maybe 900 units at one point.
yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah,
that
yeah.
year?
Yeah. I mean, if it, yeah, things were going, yeah. I mean, it was projection, like based on the percentage increases we've done over the last 2, 3, 4 months.
Yeah,
If we project it forward, then we were on course to do
to do
at 900.
yeah,
You
and,
know,
and just keep growing. Now, I want to bring this part up because projections are just projections, forecasts are
yeah,
predictions. Um, they're just a guesstimate of what we can do. Now, I believe I don't. We actually didn't hit that number that year. And then that's when the story kind of starts to change its shape a little bit because we end up going into COVID, which I remember COVID being not terrible for us. I remember it being quite good, except for around this time we start saying, okay, cool. Like in terms of sales, they was okay because we still had our bestseller selling. We got around the compliance issue, which later on comes back again, but we're sorted. We got our stuff sorted out. We're doing some good sales. We're projected to do XYZ, but then we start trying to expand and build a website because we
yeah.
realize we don't want to just rely on Amazon because Amazon are a bit fiddly. Like they will just, you wake up one morning and you have a notification saying alert, alert, your account's gonna get shut down if you don't do this, that, and that. And we woke up a few mornings to those notifications, and
That's right.
it started to make us feel a little bit uneasy. So then we said, okay, cool. How do we protect ourselves by finding another platform to sell on as well? Because 80% of our sales, maybe 70% of our sales was coming from Amazon, and we didn't want to just rely solely on that. So we said, let's make a website and start running some ads and selling from a website, which
That's
we
it.
did, right, Pops?
Which we did. Yeah. No, absolutely, we did. Yes, obviously we'd already been working with um, your contact, Rang. What's her
Oh,
name?
Rang, Kaupner, yeah, Kaupner,
Kaupner.
yeah.
So we'd already been working with Kaupner.
Kaupner's
We spoke to
a design agency based out in the Middle East, India, where we was working with her to get good cost designs and stuff, websites and stuff from her for a low cost.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we started working with Kaupner. And in working with Kaupner, we managed to design our own website because obviously the profit margins are like Warren said, is that just to give us that, I suppose, that security of knowing that we've got our own platform as well as the Amazon platform. We can obviously, we set up the website, and then so we set up the website with Kaupner. And also we needed to look into our own sort of marketing, which there was your contact. Was it Steve?
Yeah, so Steve comes a little bit later because we want to change the website up. But the first template from Kaupner's website was just a bare bones website, and I remember us feeling really excited about it. And we was like, "Yeah, we got our first sale again at Harvester." Cause we had something about Harvester. We was always meeting at
Yeah,
Harvester. I
that's the
remember,
meeting place. Yeah.
yeah, and we get this first sale through, and it's like, okay, cool. This is the signs again, and we spoke about this in the previous video. You're looking for those little signals and those little signs in the beginning, and we started to get those signs. Problem that we faced though around that time was that we was running, because it's a supplement and it was a libido enhancer. you couldn't run it through normal channels like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, etc., etc. So we was running Google PPC ads, and they was bringing in sales, but they was charging us and making it a little bit more expensive because the product was an adult product. So it was a little bit, the cost per click was a little bit expensive, but it was driving traffic to the site. And we started to just learn. That's how we started to learn how to run PPC and market outside of Amazon, and really start to generate. And we were generating a lot of sales. We started to generate a lot of sales. I don't know if you got numbers from what the website was doing once upon a time at that time.
No, I mean, I probably would have. I don't have them
Okay.
here,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure I've got them somewhere. So maybe in another episode, maybe I can
Yeah.
dig them
Yeah.
out. But I mean,
Yeah. No,
but yeah,
that
I mean,
first version of the website before Steve comes in and does a remodel, that first version of the website was fine, and it was making sales. However, the biggest problem that we ran into was that because of the nature of the product, our
yeah,
our card transaction
card processor.
card. Do you wanna share that part, pops?
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, because of the type of product we're selling, the card processors that actually make that do the transactions on the websites don't always want to work with you, because you're what they call, I can't remember the actual terminology they
High
use,
risk,
but
high something risk.
you're high
High
risk.
risk, yeah,
That's you're deemed as high risk.
yeah.
So basically, what they don't want is a lot of refunds,
That was it.
for
Yeah.
the type of product that you sell, which we wasn't having anyway. But it took us a while to find the right card processor, which we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are, like I said, and this is all like where we speak about, getting supplements as a first wish. These are all of the things, guys, that we're finding out as we're going along. So as much as, like, we've started this company, we're selling loads of products. Then we're finding all these landmines along the way. So you're faced with, well, I've left my job. You're selling. Oh, but we've got these issues. So you're constantly firefighting along the way of success. So you're thinking, well, we're getting revenue, we're being successful, but now we've got this issue. All we're trying to do is sell products.
Yes.
And it feels like companies are making it try